Hey guys, out here today, gonna do an oil change on mom and dad's car and my truck. And I've got my helper out here today. She's gonna be our camera lady. So here's the car that we're gonna do the first oil change on, and I got the ramps already lined up. I made these ramps a couple years ago to help with lowered vehicles because they are stretched out. So I'm gonna hand the camera off to her in just a minute and we're gonna get started. So we're just draining out all the old used oil into these cans before we get started.
How's it going?
Slow. I'm gonna put this thing up on ramps. Lou, kind of make sure I don't drive off of it or anything.
Okay.
We're good?
Uh-huh.
Tell me when.
You're good.
Good?
Yeah. Stop.
So, we're gonna do, go over here and pop this hood. Oh, yes. I think it's a little hard for you, girlie. Let's see. Alright. So, she's gonna take over here. This is a good old 2.4. And I did buy good oil for this thing and a nice additive. So follow me, camera girl.
Okay. Yes, Dada.
Gotta get a rag. Show them the process on the golf cart. Show them I went ahead and fiberglass the front of it. It looks terrible, but hopefully soon. I didn't want to do it on camera because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So we're going to see how it turns out. Come on, camera lady. We're just gonna check the oil in it real quick.
Don't ask what I told them.
I won't. I'll find out.
I told them that.
So shine right here.
Right here.
No, like on here. So this thing is about a quart low on oil already. So that's good. So now we got to get our pan and a wrench. And I can't remember on these. I think it's I used to change oil for a living. I can't remember. I think it's a 13 millimeter or a 14 millimeter. I don't know if you guys can see anything I'm doing, but the oil filter is way up here. And then here's our drain plug. So I'm gonna get our pan laid here. And I've got a 13 and a 14. I don't know which one it is. It's not the 13. It's the 14. Holy crap! Oh, man, that thing's tight. Uh-oh.
I think I could probably get it.
That plug don't feel very good. I've never changed oil in this car, so I don't know. Dad's always taking it someplace. It probably, judging by the way it looks, it needs a new drain plug. Crush washer looks terrible. God, that drain plug is tight. Oh, boy, I don't want to. There she comes, finally. So, got her out. I'll let her do her thing here. Put the low side over here so she drains. Ain't a whole lot of oil there. Whoa. Oh, guess opening that would help. Idiot. So yeah, I used to do oil changes for a living, and yeah, I got burned out on that real fast after 7 years. Now the trick is to get that oil filter off. Now I don't know if any of you guys know this or not, but I see tons of people that do this, and once it's done draining, they put the drain plug back in. Well, that's not exactly the best thing to do. Your best thing to do is go ahead and pull your oil filter off with your drain plug out, because there is a anti-drain back valve in that oil filter, and when you pull the oil filter, when you break that seal, it'll actually drain out quite a bit of extra oil that's, you know, stuck up there in the pump and stuff like that. So you'll get a little bit more of the grime and stuff out of it when you pull the filter while it's still draining, and I'll show you that once this is done. Okay guys, so I got y'all up under the car a little bit further here, and I just used one of these El Cheapos, and I mean, it's super cheap. Usually these are spring loaded, and that one ain't, so it's a big old pile of crap. But I got the filter enough that I can get it by hand. Now when I talked about taking the oil filter off, and you can see where it just barely a little drain now, so I'm going to pop this filter loose, and you're going to see just how much more is going to drain out of there. Stream's picking up just a little. I don't know if you guys could see it or not, but there is quite a bit more coming out. And once we get the filter completely off there, you'll see quite a bit more. So, reach up in here. Filter is out. And we're just going to let her sit there for a minute. This one didn't have as much come out of it than some I've seen. A lot of your vehicles, when you pull that plug out, you'll get a steady stream for a few seconds of oil come out. Always check and make sure that your gasket on your filter is actually on your filter, and you can even reach up in here and feel the filter base, and I always like to kind of wipe it off and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna let that finish draining, and we're gonna get all this stuff ready to go. So I am gonna be putting an additive in this thing, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's liquid moly, and it is a anti-friction engine treatment, and this stuff does work. It actually quietens the motor down a lot. These Toyotas are notorious for valve train rattle. You can hear them. So we're going to add some of this in it and see how she helps. So we're going to put a good old Wix filter on this thing, and with my assistant, well, thank you, assistant, we're going to be running Mobil 1 high mileage and 0-20. This car recommends 0-20 or 0-30. So we're gonna put 020 in.
I knew you were going to say 030.
Did you?
Mhm.
And I always put oil in my filters.
Where can I put this? Just below it?
So over there. I always put a little oil in the filter. And that helps out
Dad,
a lot. I seen it.
found the cave.
That's alright. We put a little bit of oil in the filters. And this one I can't put a lot in it because of how it goes up in there, kind of at an angle.
Stuck on the wall.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this little bit of oil that I put on this outside ring here, and I'm just gonna lube our gasket up. Here we go. You guys probably can't see because it's way up underneath all this crap. So get our filter on here, and I always just go hand tight. You don't have to He-Man these things on. So we're on there nice and tight. And now we can put our drain plug that looks like crap back in it. We'll clean these threads up a little. I'm gonna work her back and forth and get her in there. And what happens over time is those threads, they just flatten out, and somebody could have over torqued it and damaged the threads a little. So we'll probably have to replace that at some point. Not this oil change. I'm just gonna ignore it. Now ideally you want to use a 6-point wrench to do this, or a 6-point socket, but I do not have either. So I'm gonna use the 12 that I've got and just be easy. So doing the drain plug, same thing. Get it tight and then just snug it. You don't need to He-Man it on there because it will, after time, heat and stuff, it will suction itself up quite well. And as you can see, there is part of our gasket that just broke off of that plug. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Might end up having to change that plug. Alright, so got the bottom of the car done, got the filter on, got the plug back in, and got our funnel ready. So now we're going to go ahead and add our liquid moly first, and then top it off with oil. I think these cars take 4.5, I can't remember. So we'll just start out with like 4 and then check it, because you're adding an additive to it too, so it's not going to take quite as much. So here goes the liquid moly. Got our liquid moly in, and my daughter's over here playing with bubbles. Look at her. Supposed to be doing my camera, and instead bubbles. So I'm gonna grab our oil now. Try not to make a huge mess. We're just going to check the dipstick and see what she shows. And definitely not much. So we're going to put just a splash more in it, and then we're going to start it. see anything kicking. Back it down. I went ahead and backed it up further a little bit on the driveway where it's a flatter spot,
Time to record.
so we can go ahead and check our level.
Time to record.
All right, so now I'm gonna check the level, see where we're at. And we need about a half a quart. Okay. Check it again. And we are good, I do believe. Got one thing left to do on this, and that's reset the maintenance light. So let's get the hood down and go reset the maintenance light. All right, so guys, we're in the car and we're gonna go ahead and reset this maintenance light. And as you can see, it's on, flashing. So what you do to reset these is you press and hold the the odometer trip button while the key's off, and then turn the key on. So let me show you. It's gonna be hard to show you. So this is what you'll do. Turn the key off all the way. You'll press and hold the odometer trip button, and then turn the key all the way forward like you're going to start it, but not all the way. And the maintenance light should start flashing. And went out. So that is how you reset the maintenance light on just about every Toyota Camry, and lots of other Toyotas also. Also, I wanted to add in here, I didn't tell you in the video just a second ago, that you have to make sure that you are on trip A with the ignition turned off, then hold the button in. If you do it while it's on trip B or on odometer, it won't do any, it won't reset the maintenance light. So just wanted to let you guys know that. I forgot to tell you that in the other part of that video. All right guys, so got the car done, and it's been a little while later. I had to take my camera girl to her mom's, so I had to use my truck, and it's been sitting here cooling for at least an hour. Now this truck has some issues. I bought this truck with 20,000 miles on it years ago, and it's got like 140 some on it now, and it has notorious low oil pressure problems. So the motor that's in it is a 5.3 LS family motor. They're great motors. You can get a lot of stuff, a lot of power out of them and stuff. The problem is they do have a couple issues when it comes to the oil pressure. Now, I have replaced the oil pressure sensor, and I have replaced the screen that's underneath the oil pressure sensor, and neither of which have fixed the oil pressure problem. Now, I don't know 100% if it actually has an oil pressure problem or if it is just a gauge problem. So, I actually hooked up a aftermarket gauge on a sandwich plate to the oil filter housing and I show a consistent between 40 and 60 pounds of oil pressure, and that's at idle and at drive. So I really don't know. I think it's the gauge, but there is a possibility that it is a $4 part that's causing all these problems. Of course, it's like several hours worth of labor for a $4 part, and that $4 part is just an O-ring that goes on the pickup tube of the oil pump. What happens is they become brittle and it can't get a good seal, and it doesn't pick up oil out of the pan. Not a big deal to replace if you don't have four-wheel drive. Being that I have four-wheel drive, you have to drop the front diff, the axles, the I'm brain dead, front drive shaft has to come out, and then you got to drop the oil pan. So several hours worth of work, and I don't feel like doing it, and I'm not going to pay someone to do it. So with that being said, we're just going to drive it till it either quits running or fixes itself. I don't see it fixing itself, so we're just going to keep driving it. Now this truck, since I bought it, I've always ran 5W30 royal purple in it. Well, that has gotten kind of expensive since this truck takes 6 quarts of oil. So we switched it up this time, and I'm just going to run some the cheapest thing I could find at Rural King, and that was Castrol 15W40. Yes, 15W40. We're going to throw some 15W40 in it, and I'm going to put some of this MOA engine oil supplement in it. Now, I've never used this stuff, but we're going to give it a try just to see what it does. And of course, I will run a Wix filter. Good old Wix. Can't go wrong with Wix. And this truck is currently, I don't know, it's probably got 10,000 miles on this oil change because, yeah, I just haven't felt like doing it. So, I guess, let's get at it. So, since this truck is like a mile up in the air versus me, so I'm not exactly small, I'm 6'1", but it's still, this truck has a lift kit on it, and then it's on ramps too, so it's pretty high. Climb up here, and I want to see how much oil's in it before I drain it. And it's actually over full, and it is black as coal, so that's a good thing. Not being over full, but the black part. So if you got oil that comes out looking clean, that's not a good thing. That means the oil is not doing its job. It should never come out clean looking. It should always come out black, because detergent in the oil, it cleans itself as it goes. So you want black oil. Okay, so on this truck, your oil plug and filter are way the hell back there, so that makes it fun. And I just noticed, I've known I've had one, but it looks like it's getting worse. I've got one hell of a line leak on the transmission lines going to the cooler part. So we may have to address that at some point. Not today. Or we may just choose to ignore that fact and keep driving it, which is probably more likely. Now, as we venture way the hell back here, our oil filter is nice and wet, and so is the oil pan. Wonderful. Now, whatever reason, they decided on these trucks to put the oil plug on the older models were right here. And of course, when you pulled it, it hit this damn bar and went everywhere. So the newer models, they got smart and put the plug here. The only problem is now when it drains, it hits this damn part right here halfway through draining and goes everywhere. Thank you, Chevrolet and GM. It's a 15. So pop our plug. So got our plug loose and out we go, and it's still pretty damn hot. And oh, overshot. Good job. So that oil is nasty because it's been in there for so long. So while that drains, I'm gonna get my rag. So same thing with this. I'm gonna pull the oil filter out while the plug is out. Okay. And out she comes. And I do see that my sandwich plate up there moved quite a bit. So I'll have to probably go get a socket and tighten that up before I put the new plug on it, or filter on it, sorry. So we're gonna let that drain good. So we're about down to a drip. Let's see, get some more out of her. So we're gonna let that drain, and then I'm gonna go find a socket that'll fit this housing and tighten that up more. I don't have the gauge hooked up anymore, and the reason is because it was drawing a lot of battery to where I had it hooked at. It really needs to be put on a toggle switch or something that I could turn it on and off, because where I had it tapped, I had to add a fuse into the fuse box, and for whatever reason that thing was drawing a lot of power. Let's see if any of these fits. No. Aha! Looks like that's it. That's too big. That's too small. So it looks like this one, which is a 27 millimeter, will fit. So let's go ahead and tighten that up. And yeah, she was very loose. So we got that tightened back up. And now I'm going to grab some oil, put it in the filter, and put it on, and we'll get ready to put the plug in it and be done. So first I'm going to put the oil filter back on. And we are good. So now let's go up here and put some oil in it. They're done underneath, and we're going to be putting our oil in now. funnel. Adding this stuff in. Yummy. That smells horrible. Anyways, that's done. Now for our oil. Oh yes, drink it. And I do not have enough oil of this kind, so I will be putting some other oil that I have in the shop in it. Castrol Edge, 1030. Yeah, sure, why not? Put some of that in. I don't know how long that quart's been there. It's pretty nasty. So, drink you up. Yeah, what the hell? You can have it all. You'll probably leak it or burn it. Alright, so I think we got it all down in there. Looks pretty good. So let's get rid of our funnel. Put our cap back on. And let's go fire this beast up and see if she's leaking anything. And we've got oil pressure, but about where she usually always is, at around 20 pounds at idle, as you can see that. Let's go see what she looks like underneath. I don't see anything puking. So I'm going to assume that's good. We're going to go ahead and back this thing off the ramps. Yeah, like I said, she's only reading 20 pounds. I mean, it kind of goes up. But she should be reading around 40 pounds, even at idle, so I don't know. There's still something going on with her. We'll see what happens though. So I'm gonna turn it off and we're gonna check the oil. Oh yeah, looks full to me. Now I figured that we would add, oh, you know, I got some of this seafoam in a can. Let's pop this air filter off and just spray it down her throat and see how she likes it. And we're gonna start it back up and we're just gonna let her eat. We're basically rebuilding it right here. Oh yeah, she likes that. Dose there. Well, maybe that was too much. F you. I'm just gonna spray the hell out of you. A little bit, but I don't. What the hell? Maybe I'll just missed. Thing does not like it. Hang on guys, I got an idea. Alright guys, so what I did, I went in there and I changed the tune in the computer up the RPMs a little. Now we're gonna shut this thing off and let it sit for 10 minutes. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes instead of 10 minutes, but I went ahead and cleaned up everything from the oil changes and went ahead and reprogrammed the computer so it was stuck it back to factory idle. And before we start it up, I'll show you guys on Chevrolet how to reset the oil life. So it'll come on and you probably can't see it, but yeah, this thing's got all kinds of stuff. So check it, change engine oil soon. So when that comes up, hit the gas pedal 3 times and she resets. Now I've got service StabiliTrak, a check engine light, and service trailer brake system. I know what all that is. It's because I've got a bad ABS sensor, and I don't know if it's the driver's side front or passenger side front, but we'll get to that in another video. Anyways, we changed the oil in this thing and we seafoamed the crap out of it, the intake. So sometimes they smoke, sometimes they don't, depends on how dirty it is. So let's fire this thing up and see what she does. I think she's gonna smoke at all. So my exhaust is way underneath the truck because it fell off. Let me set you guys up and see if it smokes at all. I doubt it does, but we'll see. I'll give her a couple good revs here. Right there's the exhaust. Yeah, so I don't think she smoked any, but it sure stinks. I can smell it. So yeah, maybe that'll help out a little bit. She's got a couple of issues. Every once in a while she throws code for mass airflow and stuff like that. And you know, that's probably because of neglect. But I don't know how many miles this thing actually got. She's got 144,303 on her. So I mean, not a lot, but not great either. But sounds better than it did. It seems like the oil pressure's a little bit higher than it usually is. She's up there between 20 and 40 now, so and it does go up. Guess we'll just have to see what she does. But I guess that'll be the end of this video. Just wanted to give you all a little oil changing instead of doing something with the golf cart all the time, which I'm getting ready to go out here and wire some stuff, oh joy. But yeah, so I guess that's it for this video. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.